Discover the heartwarming moment a mechanic transforms a young girl's life without a father. Lily was only 12, but life had already left its marks on her spirit. In a dull suburban neighborhood in Ohio, she felt the hollow absence of her father, a veteran who had fought battles both foreign and domestic. He had vanished into thin air, leaving behind whispers of trauma that enveloped their little home. Her mother, Mary, worked long hours at the diner, her tired eyes betraying the weight of worry, and in the evenings, the house was filled with the silence of unspoken words and a longing for connection. One morning, while sorting through the bills she had so diligently helped her mother organize, Lily felt a familiar tightness in her chest. If only she could fix things, if only life could be more predictable. The annual fair was just around the corner, a glimmer of hope, and she could almost smell the popcorn and see the bright colors of the rides. However, for Lily, it was a bittersweet reminder. It brought excitement but also the pang of absence. She wanted to share it with her dad. Tom, the mechanic down the street, was a kind-hearted man who had a shop in need of customers. He had seen Lily around, her fierce determination hidden beneath the hardships of her young life. One day, he noticed her staring at the cars with such awe that he couldn't ignore it any longer. "Hey, you want to learn how to fix a car?" he asked, surprising her. That simple question opened a door she never knew existed. "Really? You teach me?" Her eyes widened, and for the first time in a long time, she felt a flicker of hope. And just like that, Tom became her mentor. They spent afternoons in the shop, grease-stained hands learning the delicate balance of a carburetor, and every lesson was wrapped in stories about resilience and the importance of community. But darkness loomed. A rival mechanic, jealous of Tom's budding relationship with Lily and the attention his shop was receiving, began spreading vicious rumors about Mary. "She can't keep a job, just like her husband," he sneered one day, voice dripping with contempt. Lily's stomach knotted. She wanted to scream, to shout that her mom was a fighter, but instead, anger simmered beneath the surface. Tom sensed the tension too. His own secret battles whispered in his heart as he felt the pressure from his rival mounting with each passing day. "I can't let this ruin everything," he murmured during one of their evening workshops. But as they prepared for the fair, the atmosphere sparked with an urgency, a shared understanding that they had to stand up for what was right. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As the fair approached, tension brewed with a defined clarity. Tom rallied the community, pushing back against the rival's underhanded tactics. Lily stood beside him, not just as a young girl seeking knowledge but as a fierce defender of family bonds, however unconventional. She realized that love and loyalty could bridge the gaps left by blood. In a final showdown at the fair, as the rival tried to sabotage their booth, the clash turned into an unexpected moment of solidarity as townsfolk gathered around Tom and Lily. Would they rally enough strength to protect their newfound family against the scrutiny and stains of jealousy? Would they stand strong against the storm brewing in their community? As the crowd erupted in support, the stakes had never been higher, and Lily's heart raced at the thought of what was to come. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the fairground, Lily felt a mix of excitement and fear. The vibrant lights were just beginning to twinkle, the scent of fried dough wafting through the air, but all she could think about was the looming confrontation. Tom stood beside her, his presence calming, yet she could see the determination in his eyes. They were ready to face whatever came next. The rival mechanic, Dave, was already on the prowl, his narrow eyes scanning the crowd. He had a way of making even the happiest atmosphere feel tense. Tom's booth, the pride of his hard work, stood boldly in the center, garnished with colorful banners that read, "Community and Family." For Lily, these words rang true, encapsulating everything she had learned in the past few weeks. "Just keep your head up, okay? We have the support," Tom said, lifting his chin as if to embolden both of them. Lily nodded, a tight knot of anxiety twisting in her stomach. She could hear laughter from the carousel nearby, but somehow it felt distant. Her heart raced as she spotted familiar faces among the folks gathering around their booth. Friends from school, neighbors, even the old lady from down the street who always offered sweet treats. They came together, ready to show their support for Tom and for Lily, a united front against Dave's bitterness. But then, out of the blue, Dave emerged, his voice slicing through the cheer of the fair. "Look at this. A little girl playing mechanic while her mother can't even keep a job." His cruel words hung in the air, a cloud of judgment that stung. Before Lily could react, Tom stepped forward, fists clenched but his voice steady. "That's enough, Dave. You don't know what you're talking about. Mary is a hard-working woman, and Lily here, well, she is proving you wrong every single day." Lily could feel the heat rising up her neck. She wanted to defend her mom, to scream how brave Mary truly was. But instead, she took a deep breath, her eyes narrowing in determination. This was her moment to stand tall, like Tom had taught her. Resilience was born from facing fears head-on. Gathering all her courage, Lily took a step forward. "You don't know me or my family. My mom does work hard. And I'm proud of what I'm learning. You can't take that away from me." Her voice trembled, but she stood firm, her small frame radiating a strength she never knew she possessed. The crowd shifted, murmurs of agreement blossoming around her. Tom smiled at her, pride shining in his eyes. It felt like a spark, igniting something deep within the gathering crowd. "See?" He addressed the townsfolk. "This girl is proof of what community really is. We lift each other up, not tear each other down." The crowd erupted in applause, a wave of solidarity washing away the dark clouds that Dave had tried to cast. Eyes sparkled with shared emotion as they rallied around Lily and Tom. For the first time, Lily felt a real sense of belonging, something she had yearned for in the absence of her father. But just then, a blaring horn signaled another ride opening, a roller coaster called the Daredevil Drop. As people cheered and ran towards the thrilling sounds of joy, Lily noticed a familiar figure at the edge of the crowd. All at once, her heart sank as she realized who it was. Could it really be her father, standing there, watching silently? What did this mean? Would he come forward, or would she remain forever stuck in a moment between hope and heartbreak? Lily's breath caught in her throat, and the world around her faded into a blur. All she could see was the man who once meant everything to her, and now, a question stirred within. Would he step back into her life? Lily's heart raced as she stood frozen among the thrumming crowd. The lights of the fairground glittered and danced, but they felt distant compared to the pounding rhythm of her thoughts. Time seemed to stutter as she tried to make sense of the figure at the edge of the crowd, her father. After all this time, could it truly be him? Her mind spiraled. Thoughts collided like bumper cars. Was he here to apologize, to disappear again, or worse, to bring confusion back into her life? She wanted to shout his name, to rush over to him, to demand answers. But she was anchored to the spot, fear winding around her chest like a vice. Tom, sensing her turmoil, leaned in closer. "Lily, are you all right?" She barely heard him. Her gaze was locked onto her father's face, trying to catch a flicker of emotion, anything that could guide her through this chaos. He looked different, older, maybe. Lines of worry etched deeper than she remembered. But those eyes, his eyes, still held the same warmth, the same spark she once knew. "Hey, focus on me," Tom urged softly, bringing her back from her mental whirlwind. "I can't imagine what you're feeling right now, but whatever it is, you don't have to face it alone." Lily nodded, giving him a small smile as her heart settled, just a tiny bit. She wanted to believe in the strength of his words. Suddenly, the cheers of the crowd erupted again, and her father's gaze shifted for a brief moment. He seemed to hesitate, as if weighing something in his mind. Then, when she least expected it, he took a step closer. The murmur of voices faded, and in that moment, only their pulsing heartbeats seemed to echo in her ears. "Dad," she whispered, the name cracking like a dry twig. And then, he was diving straight into the throng, eyes fixed on her, with determination written all over his face. As he got closer, Lily could feel the warmth of possibility rising within her, yet she was also gripped by a deep-rooted fear that came creeping back with memories. "What should I do?" she whispered to Tom, desperation bubbling in her throat. Tom looked at her, a steady hand resting on her shoulder. "You've got this. Just be honest. You are strong, Lily." The words filled her with courage. She took a deep breath, her mind made up. As he approached, all the noise faded further away. He looked down at her, and for a moment, it was as if the world had paused just for them. "Lily," he began, voice shaky, full of uncertainty. "Dad, where have you been?" The question tumbled out before she could stop it. The hurt was raw and real, spilling like an open wound. His expression faltered, a flicker of shame crossing his face. I know I messed up. I thought I was doing what was best, but I see now. I was wrong." Her heart pounded. Was this really happening? Did he truly understand? Questions swirled through her mind, too many to grasp. Before she could respond, Dave's mocking laughter carried over to them. "You'll let this clown back into your life? Just like that?" The tension rose in the air. Lily felt her anger ignite, her voice steadying. "This is my choice, not yours. You don't get to decide here." Her eyes locked onto her father's, and she desperately searched for that old connection, hoping to see the love that had once been there. He reached for her, hand trembling, but would she let him in? As the fairground continued to hum with life, she stood at the brink of an emotional precipice, poised between hope and uncertainty. With the crowd watching, she had to choose, stay in her old hurt or take a leap of faith into the unknown. What would she do? Would she let the past influence her present, or could she find a way to a new beginning? Lily's breath caught in her throat as her father reached for her, his hand trembling slightly. She could see the sincerity in his eyes, but doubt still whispered in the back of her mind. What if this was just another empty promise? Could she risk her heart again? Tom remained at her side, a steady presence amid the chaos. "You got this," he said softly, sensing the whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. "Remember what you want. This is your moment." The crowd buzzed around them, each laughter and cheer echoing against her heightened anxiety. Lily glanced at her father, the man who had once been her hero, who had vanished without a trace. Was this the same man standing before her? "Dad, you left when it mattered." The words poured out, firm yet filled with an ache that clung to her voice. "You didn't just leave me, you left Mom too. Do you understand how much that hurt?" He flinched, guilt flooding his expression. "Lily, I can't tell you how sorry I am. I thought I was protecting you from my failures. I thought you'd be better off without me." His voice cracked under the weight of his own words. "Better off?" She echoed, anger sparking again. "You don't get to decide what's best for me. You abandoned us without a word." The truth of her words hung heavily in the air, the tension crackled like static. Dave, lingering at the edge of the crowd, smirked as if waiting for this very moment. "See? She knows it," he taunted, drawing the attention of a few nearby fairground goers. Lily, her father's voice broke like a soft wave on a rocky shore. She could see his vulnerability, the deep regret swimming in his eyes. "I know I can't take back the past, but I want to be here now. Let me try." Lily's heart raced with conflicting emotions. The little girl she used to be screamed for her father, while the young woman she had become held tightly to her hurt. Was it even possible to forgive? "Why now?" she asked, her voice steadier than she felt. "What brought you back?" "I'm sick, Lily," he confessed, a weighty resignation lacing his words. I've spent months thinking I wouldn't get a second chance. It made me realize I've wasted my life running. I'm ready to face my mistakes. To face you. Her heart softened. His words sank into her chest like heavy stones, both troubling and comforting. Moments ticked by, and she watched as her father's face flickered through emotions she had never seen before: fear, hope, vulnerability. What do you want from me? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper, two fierce emotions battling within her. His hand dropped, and her heart sank with it, a little piece of hope dimming. I want you to tell me what I can do to make things right. I want you back in my life, even if it's just a small part at first. Lily's heart ached with the possibility of healing but was burdened with the fear of opening old wounds. Could she trust him again? This moment felt monumental, a new chapter or a dangerous gamble. She took a shaky breath, both excited and terrified by the choice ahead of her. What could forgiveness look like? Maybe we can start by just talking. She suggested, an ember of hope flickering within her chest. But, would talking be enough to bridge the vast chasm created by years of absence? As she looked deep into his eyes, a world of unspoken words hung in the air between them. And then came a sound, unexpected yet echoing through the fairground: a loud crash, a scream, followed by the panicked yells of those around them. Lily's heart raced anew, unsure if this chaos would change everything again. What did it mean for her, her father, for the chance of rebuilding what had been lost? The sound of a carnival tipping towards disaster pulled them out of their emotional standstill, leaving her caught in the balance of hope and dread. Lily felt her heart drop as the sound of panic surged through the crowd. She pulled her gaze from her father, who stood there, looking as lost as she felt, and turned in the direction of the chaos. People were running, some children crying as parents hurriedly grabbed their hands. The promise of a simple conversation shattered like glass around her. What is happening? She yelled over the rising panic. Tom took a step forward, shielding her with his body, his eyes darting through the crowd, searching for answers. A nearby ride, a Ferris wheel, had buckled at the top, its colors swirling above as it creaked ominously. A shrill scream pierced the air, sending chills down her spine. Lily's instinct screamed for her to flee, but she felt herself rooted in place, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm of fear and confusion. Stay close! Tom shouted, grabbing her arm, but she barely felt him. The world around her hazed over, and all she could see was the expression on her father's face. He looked terrified, guilt festering in the corners of his eyes. Lily! He called again, reaching out, but she hesitated. The past ripped through her like a storm. Her memories of him were a collage of love blurred by abandonment. She had so many questions for him, questions that felt more urgent now, but the chaos consumed her thoughts. Just talk echoed in her mind. Could they really? After all these lost years? Lily! We need to go. Tom's voice broke through her daze, pulling her back to reality. She nodded but felt frozen, glancing one last time at her father. He took a step towards her, his face an open book of longing and remorse, but she couldn't bear to look too long. The truth that might have brought them closer now sparked chaos instead. Don't leave. Her father's plea cut through the chaos. Please. I stop. Lily barked, forcing the words through the knot in her throat. You think I can just stand here and act like everything is okay? You left. You gave up. Tears pricked at her eyes, the urgency of the moment amplifying every feeling she had been holding at bay. All the longing for a father she had resented now clashed with the fear that this was the last time she would ever see him. Lily. We can talk later. We need to move. Tom urged again, and the desperation in his tone ignited something in her. I don't want to run. I want to understand. She shouted above the cacophony of fear and desperation surrounding them. You want to be here, Dad? Show me you mean it. Before he could respond, the Ferris wheel creaked again, more violently this time, and an ominous sound echoed like thunder. The crowd screamed in unison, and Lily's heart raced anew with the rawness of the present, drowning out the noise of past hurt. "Get back!" A voice boomed through the panic, snapping Lily from her thoughts. The ride seemed ready to collapse, and shards of hope transformed into frightening uncertainty. If they survived this, what would she say? Would there even be a next moment? Suddenly, Tom grasped her waist and pulled her toward a clearing. Her father remained behind. She could feel pieces of her heart tearing away with each step away from him. "Lily!" he yelled, desperation coating his voice. "I'm not going anywhere. I promise." But his words felt like they were disappearing into the distance, lost amid shrieks and panic. As they moved further away, she cast one last glance over her shoulder. The chaos wrapped around her like a cloak, but the ache for understanding burned brighter. How could she possibly forgive what she didn't yet understand? And what if, by the end of it all, the chance to heal slipped away again? The ride bucked again, and the crowd screamed louder. Lily took a deep breath, feeling raw and uncertain, peering through the tumult, grappling with the reality of being caught between the past and an uncertain future. What awaited her when the whirlwind of chaos passed? Would her father still be standing there, ready to heal the wounds? Little did she know, the answers might come from the most unexpected place. The Ferris wheel groaned again, and the ground felt unsteady beneath her feet, just like everything else in her life. Fear rippled through the crowd, and the cacophony of cries seemed to entwine around her, tightening the knot in her chest. She was propelled forward, further from her father, yet everything inside her screamed to turn back. "Lily! Focus on me!" Tom urged, his voice breaking through her swirling thoughts. His grip on her waist was firm, his eyes steady. Yet, with each step away, it felt like she was leaving behind pieces of herself. Around them, the fairgoers surged in a chaotic tide, faces distorted with terror. Children were lifted high into their parents' arms, while others staggered backwards, their faces streaked with tears. The smell of popcorn and cotton candy seemed far away now, overshadowed by the rising tension in the air. "What are we gonna do?" she asked, panic creeping in again. Tom hesitated, scanning the crowd. "We need to get to safety, then we can think." Yet his expression belied any confidence. "Where's Dad?" she whispered, a hollow ache making her voice tremble. Tom dipped his head, looking for a path through the sea of bodies. "We'll find him. Just stay with me." Lily wanted to believe him. She wanted to trust that there would be more time, that after this chaos settled, she could have the answers she so desperately sought. But the mass confusion only amplified her dread. Suddenly, amid the turmoil, a loud crash reverberated. The Ferris wheel jerked violently one last time before several compartments detached and plummeted to the ground with a bone-rattling thud. The sound sliced through the atmosphere, and a wave of screams erupted, drowning out everything else. Lily stumbled, disoriented by fear and the reality of loss. The adrenaline of the moment clouded her mind. She could hardly think, her breath coming in short gasps. Would her father run toward them now? Would he try to shield her as Tom was doing? She smoothed her hands over her face, trying to blink away tears, but they kept coming, falling like rain against her cheeks. Tom, what if something happens to him? He is strong. He'll be okay, Tom insisted, his voice fierce. Yet, she could see the doubt lurking in his eyes. Just then, a woman nearby collapsed, moaning and frantically waving her arms. Clusters of onlookers fell silent, drawn to the scene. A couple of men rushed forward to help. "Stand back!" one shouted, urgently pushing through the crowd. The chaos swirled again, and Lily's legs felt like lead. "Stay close to me," Tom commanded as he pulled her away from the throng. But in those fleeting seconds, she locked eyes with a man who resembled her father. The deep furrow in his brow and the warm brown of his eyes struck a chord deep inside her. She inhaled sharply, adrenaline spiking her heartbeat. "Dad?" She gasped, barely audible. He turned toward her, startled, searching her face. The chaos around them faded into a blur, and for just a moment, it was as if time stood still. "Lily?" He breathed, taking a step forward, an expression of hope glimmering on his face. Before she could respond or think, another loud crack echoed. The Ferris wheel seemed to sway precariously above. The ground shook beneath them, but Lily felt like she was standing on solid ground for the first time in years. Her heart raced, not with fear now, but with the sheer possibility of connection. I need to talk," she started, but the urgency of the moment surged before she could find her words. "Lily. Come on." Tom urged again, but her father's voice pressed through. "Wait. Please." As she stood torn between the fear of the unknown and the yearning for understanding, Lily knew she was at a crossroads. What answer awaited her in the midst of crisis? But none of them realized the unexpected twist awaited them, lurking just beneath the surface of the chaos. The moment hung in the air, fragile as a spider's silk. The world around Lily spun in a chaotic blur, but all she could see was her father, standing there, consumed by the same worry etched across her face. "Lily." Tom tugged at her arm, but her feet felt rooted to the ground. The noise around them receded, and in that instant, nothing else mattered except the figure she longed for. Would he come? Would he stand beside her through the storm of emotions they both faced? "Please, come here." The edge of her father's voice broke slightly, desperation creeping in. She took a hesitant step toward him, but the crowd surged like an angry ocean wave, pushing her back. "Move!" Tom shouted as he tried to fight against the tide, his face a mask of concern. But Lily's heart beat a rapid tattoo in her chest. "Malia!" Another voice shouted nearby, and Lily's attention flickered momentarily to a woman frantically calling for her child. The chaos erupted once again as people seethed, angry and lost. It felt like the earth was collapsing beneath her, and she was left dangling over a chasm of uncertainty. "Dad, I need you!" she shouted, her voice strong, cutting through the din. His eyes widened at the urgency, and he found a path through the throng, moving toward her with resolve. Yet just as he was about to reach her, the Ferris wheel creaked ominously, shaking the very foundations of the fair. Without warning, a metal arm above them snapped, crashing down toward the ground with bone-chilling speed. "Run! Get out of the way!" Tom yelled, pushing Lily forward, but instinctively she froze, torn between flight and the urge to grasp her father's outstretched hand. "Lily!" he called, his voice urgent, a lifeline amidst the chaos. In a split second, she turned, sprinting toward him, heart soaring at the thought of finally being reunited after years of absence. He reached out, and in her effort to cover the distance, she barely escaped the shadow of disaster crashing down. Then, amidst the chaos, their fingers touched, a brief spark igniting the dark. Lily felt a sensation she hadn't known in years, a wholeness. "Dad! I thought I lost you!" she cried, thoughts racing through her head. What could she say? What could she ask? The urgency of the moment pressed tight, squeezing her heart. "I'm here, Lily. I'm right here," he said, pulling her into his embrace like a protective shield against the chaos swirling around them. It felt warm, safe, and yet so fragile. "Tom!" He was still near, shouting, dragging them through the crowd, finding an exit. The scene morphed into a galloping blur, people stumbling and shouting, the scent of metal and smoke filling the air. "Keep moving," Tom urged, glancing back at them, desperation etched on his face. With each hurried step, Lily clung tighter to her father, feeling a blend of relief and panic overwhelming her senses. But questions flooded her mind. Where had he been? Why had he disappeared? How would they navigate the truth amid all this chaos? As they escaped the throng and burst into the open space beyond the fairgrounds, Lily felt the intensity rise again, but not just from fear. Hope flickered through her like a beacon on a stormy night. "Dad, we need to talk. I need to understand later, Lily." We need to get you safe first, he replied, his voice steady but with an urgency that sent a fresh wave of worry through her. Just then, a shriek split the air again, sending another jolt of fear into her gut. A small child cried, lost in the midst of frantic adults. "Tom, look!" Lily pointed, her heart stammering at the sight. "Stay close. Focus on me." Tom shouted again, gripping her arm tighter. "But what about them?" she asked, torn between her newfound connection and her lingering sense of duty. As they turned to help the child, Lily realized something fundamental had shifted inside her. She was no longer just a scared girl void of her father, she was someone ready to stand firm and fight for what mattered. The wheels of transformation were set into motion, but would she find the courage to put her father's past behind them and step into the future? And amidst the noise and confusion, an unexpected revelation began to dawn on Lily. What had he really hidden from her all along? Lily's heart pounded as she and Tom fought their way through the crowd, her father's presence a fragile thread connecting her to something she once thought lost forever. They skidded to a halt just a few steps from the little girl, who stood frozen, tears welling in her eyes as the chaotic fair whispered harsh truths around her. "Help her!" Lily burst, feeling an urgency deepen within her. The instinct to save the child clawed at her, entwining with her newfound determination. "What if we're too late?" Tom asked, glancing uneasily at the mass of people swelling behind them. "We can't leave her," Lily insisted, her gaze locked on the frightened girl. She clutched her father's hand tighter, feeling his warmth grounding her in the storm of uncertainty. "Okay, let us go," Tom conceded, moving toward the girl while Lily darted ahead. Each step unfolded like a scene in a movie, where time slowed, and she could hear every heartbeat hers, the girl's, and even the distant rumble of collapsing rides. "Hey! It's okay, we're here," Lily called to the little girl, whose lost face reminded her all too much of her own feelings of abandonment. It struck a chord deep inside her, reverberating with all the years spent searching for love and acceptance. "Mommy," the child whimpered, eyes darting around in panic. "Let us find her together," Lily knelt, softening her voice. "What's your name?" I am Sarah," the girl stammered, a light of hope flickering in her gaze. "Sarah, can you take my hand? We'll look for your mom." "You're not alone here," Lily said, extending her palm. The child hesitated before reaching out, their fingers brushing together, a simple act, but it felt monumental. Around them, the shouts grew louder, sharp tears of pain evident in the voices of frantic parents searching for their lost ones. But Lily felt an unshakable bond forming with Sarah. The fear that had once consumed her now channeled into resolve. "Tom, go check if her mom is around," she directed, never breaking eye contact with Sarah. He nodded and rushed back into the crowd, fraught with worry but determined to help. "Sarah, do you remember where you last saw your mommy?" Lily asked gently, her voice anchoring them both amid the chaos. I was on the ride. I thought it was so pretty." Sarah's face lit up briefly before the shadows of fear returned. "But then I couldn't find her. I know how you feel." "I've been lost too," Lily said, memories flaring vividly in her mind how she felt the first time she realized she wouldn't see her dad again. "But together, we can do this. We can find her." Just then, a distant shout echoed through the air. Was that Tom? Clenching her fists, anxiously scanning the masses, she felt the pull of hope and uncertainty collide within her. There was a warmth blossoming, reminding her that even amidst the darkest moments, light could pierce through. "Look!" Sarah tugged at Lily's sleeve suddenly. A woman stood a short distance away, her face painted with worry and fear. "Mommy! Go!" Lily urged, nudging Sarah forward, who shot off like a small firework igniting in the night. As the mother and daughter collided in a hug, tears streamed down the woman's cheeks as she knelt, joy radiating from her. "I thought I lost you." Lily felt her own heart swell at the reunion, the sight highlighted the magnificence of family love. She stepped back, witnessing this moment stirring something deep within her. It wasn't just about her father anymore or piecing back together the shards of her own life, it was about connection, about helping each other find their way back home. Suddenly, Lily felt a presence beside her. It was Tom, brushing sweat from his brow, catching his breath. Did we help?" he asked, voice thick with emotion. "Yes, we did," she whispered, her gaze fixed on the joyous reunion. But an unsettling thought flickered in her mind, just beyond the surface, a question that gnawed at her essence. What happens now? As the crowd began to settle, reality loomed ahead, and she knew the conversations they would need to have with her father were about to unfold. She took a deep breath, ready to confront the truth, but the anxiety of the unknown crashed over her like a wave. Would unveiling the past bring her family closer or tear them apart again? Lily turned to Tom, sensing the weight of their journey still pressing in their hearts. What would it take for her to truly find out who her father was and how she could learn to trust him again? The air around them seemed to pulse with anticipation as they all stood amid a shifting crowd, and one sentiment pierced through louder than the noise, a divergence at the edge of resolve and fear. What was left to discover? The fair's chaotic sounds faded into a hushed whisper as Lily's gaze remained fixed on the mother and daughter, the warmth of their reunion enveloping her like a soft blanket. Tom stood beside her, caught in the moment as well, yet the urgency of their own situation loomed in the back of their minds. "Let us grab some air," Tom suggested gently, sensing the emotional currents swirling around them. "We need to think about what's next." Lily nodded, grateful for the escape from the crowd and the tangled web of emotions. They slipped away from the large gathering, the resonance of laughter now muted behind them. The sun had dipped lower in the sky, casting a soft glow over the fairgrounds. "Why do you think your dad left?" Tom asked as they walked a bit further, breaking the stillness. The question hung in the air, heavy like the weight of unshed tears. She paused, searching for the words. "I don't know, maybe he thought it was for the best. Or maybe he just didn't care enough." The bitterness seeped into her voice, her heart aching at the thought. Tom chewed on his lip, glancing sideways. "You deserve to know the truth, whatever it is. I know this must be hard for you." "Yeah, but what if it's something I'm not ready for?" She hesitated, pulling at the edges of her t-shirt like a small security blanket. "What if he doesn't want to be found? We've come so far. You're not that scared little girl anymore. You're strong," he reassured her, his smile warm but tinged with uncertainty. "You've just rescued someone. Finding your dad should feel like peace, not dread." Lily let out a shaky breath. "How do you keep saying all the right things? Maybe I just like saying them to you. You're inspiring, you know." A flicker of warmth spread through her chest as she reflected on his words. Maybe he was right. But what could possibly bridge the gap between her and her father? Did he still even care? "Hey, look at that." Tom interrupted her musings, pointing to a small stage nearby. An elderly man was fixing a squeaky ride while a little boy sidled up, eyes wide with fascination. The mechanic's hands moved with care, and as he worked, he shared quick stories that drew giggles from the child. "Sometimes, it's not about the skill," Tom said quietly, watching the scene unfold. "It's about being present for someone. People need connection." Lily's heart quickened with the realization. Wasn't that what she had done today? Hadn't she just provided the reassurance that both Sarah and her mother desperately needed? Suddenly, the idea of reconnecting with her dad didn't feel as bleak as before. That mechanic he's just connecting. "Maybe that's what's missing with my dad," she said slowly, a spark of hope igniting within her. "All this time, I've been waiting for him to come to me, but maybe I need to reach out instead." Tom nodded, understanding washing over his face. "Exactly. Just like you did with Sarah. You helped her feel safe, and that's huge. Maybe your dad just needs a gentle nudge, too." The thought lingered in the air, brightening the shadows of fear that had clung to Lily. What if her dad just needed her to lead him back after all these years? But another voice inside her whispered a reminder, would he even want to come back? What if reaching out led to more hurt than healing? The moment of truth is coming, isn't it? She muttered beneath her breath, staring off into the distance as a chill crawled up her spine. Yeah, Tom breathed, his eyes scanning the crowd still bustling around the fair. But you won TB alone. Lily felt a warm rush of gratitude for Tom's unwavering presence. They had helped a little girl today, and perhaps they could help her find her own lost pieces, too. As they turned back toward the booming laughter, the fluttering lights, and the chaotic bliss of the fair, the air thrummed with possibility. Let us find your dad, Tom said, and together, they stepped forward into the future that awaited them, one filled with uncertain revelations. But as they moved into the thrumming heart of the fair, another thought struck Lily. What if the connection she craved wasn't as simple as reclaiming a lost father? What other surprises waited in the shadows of their search? The sun dipped beneath the horizon, stretching its warm colors across the fair, as Lily and Tom pushed through the remaining crowd with determination coursing through their veins. Lily's heart felt lighter, yet she was acutely aware of the weight of truths waiting to be addressed. After everything that had unfolded today, her father deserved more than a simple meeting. He deserved honesty, and so did she. Do you see him anywhere? Tom asked, scanning the sea of faces around them. No, not yet. The truth echoed in her chest, but hope still shined bright like the twinkling lights of the Ferris wheel. They rounded a corner, lost in their mission, when Lily spotted a familiar figure leaning against the booth that showcased colorful hats and souvenirs. It was her dad, his back slightly turned to them, shoulders tense. A wave of conflicting emotions crashed over her: relief, fear, anger, and unresolved longing, all mixed together into a whirlwind. There he is, she whispered, her breath coming out in a rush. Ready? Tom asked, squeezing her shoulder gently. Lily nodded, heart thrumming as they approached, a mix of nerves and excitement bubbling inside her. Her father's hair was slightly disheveled, and a deep furrow etched across his brow. As they drew closer, he turned, and the familiar warmth in his eyes glimmered like a distant star. Dad, she said, voice catching at the edges. Lily. His voice trembled slightly, and he stepped forward, uncertainty blending with longing. Before he could finish, the words poured out of her, as if she had bottled them for too long. Why did you leave us? We needed you. I needed you. Mom's been struggling all this time. Why now? Each question clawed at the surface of her heart, forcing her to confront the years of confusion and pain. I was wrong. I thought I was protecting you by staying away. I felt like a failure. I never wanted to hurt either of you. It just happened. His voice was thick with emotion, and she could see the regret etched into his features. But you did hurt us, she replied, standing firm even as her emotions threatened to give way. You left Mom to carry everything alone. You missed so much: my birthdays, my first day of school, and so many days I thought about you. I know, he whispered, pain lacing every syllable. And I'm so sorry. I spent far too long hiding. I've been dealing with my own demons, but it's no excuse. You're my daughter. I should have fought for you. I should have been standing beside you both. Lily felt the dam inside her crack with all that unspoken grief. It hurt. It still hurts. I want to be here now, he pleaded, stepping slightly closer. Can we start over? I want to know everything about you, to be a part of your life again. Just then, Tom interrupted, Lily, it's your choice. No pressure, but you deserve to make this decision for yourself. He stood a respectful distance back, careful not to intrude on what felt like a sacred moment. Please, Lily, her father urged, his eyes glistening. I am not asking for a second chance as if I've earned it. All I want is the opportunity to get to know you and prove that things can be different. As Lily grappled with the wreckage of the past, she felt something deep inside her shift. They were still standing on shaky ground, but what she truly craved was connection to understand who he had become, who she could be with him in the picture. "Okay," she whispered, her voice gaining strength. "But we have to talk about everything. And you have to be honest." The words felt like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters, guiding them both toward a fragile shore. "Absolutely," he said, voice breaking with emotion, and she could see the sincerity in his eyes. "I'll answer any question you have. Just promise you'll give me a chance." Lily felt the weight lift off her shoulders slightly, the emergence of summer clouds parting to reveal warmth again. "Then let us start talking. Maybe tomorrow?" "Whenever you're ready," he replied, the hope glimmering in his eyes made her pulse race, not with fear, but with a flicker of possibility. "Hey. It's a beginning," Tom said, stepping forward and clasping a hand on Lily's back. "Seeing you both here today is a testament to resilience." And in that moment, as laughter echoed around them, the wings of uncertainty fluttered away. A sense of family not just about blood but about love and healing began to weave their story anew. They decided to head to the Ferris wheel, the giant structure glowing against the darkening sky, a shared experience waiting to unfold. The three of them climbed aboard in a breathtaking rush, together yet held by their individual stories. As they reached the top, the shimmering fair spread below them, vibrant and alive. Lily looked out, feeling anew the weight of transformation, forging ahead no longer as just the little girl haunted by absence, but as a daughter ready to embrace her father back into her life. In the warm, bursting excitement of the fair, the future stretched endlessly ahead, like the brilliant colors of fireworks igniting the night sky. As they descended, a feeling of hope wrapped around them, a promise of healing, connection, and the beginnings of a new narrative written together. This moment wasn't just a joyous reunion. It was a new chapter, drenched in vulnerability and possibility. And as the world spun on below, Lily felt her heart whisper one thing, clearer than ever: life, despite its chaos, always holds a chance for renewal. If you felt the emotional shift in this journey, you need to subscribe now to keep up with more stories that inspire change. Leave a like now to show your support, because your engagement fuels more incredible narratives. Comment below, sharing your feelings about Lily's heartfelt choice. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support means everything. Let us spread the hope together.